Good morning, friends. This is Bhushan. So let's see what to read in the Hindu newspaper today. So on the very first page we have the black box being recovered news. Very important. What exactly is this black box and how the investigation is ongoing of the particular plane crash? Very important, particularly from the perspective of aviation, civil aviation, GS3 disaster management as well. Another important news is about Israel striking Iran's nuclear facilities. Important, particularly from the perspective of IR. At the same time, knowing the locations of those nuclear reactors is very important, particularly from the perspective of prelims. DNA samples related news is there, so you just know from the perspective of prelims what exactly is the DNA profiling. You can be asked the questions on that. Rover vandalism at Tagore's ancestral house in Bangladesh. So Rabindranath Tagore philosophy and from perspective of history, particularly those aspects are important. Particularly on the editorial page directly now, we have the analysis of the same tragedy. Go through it briefly. What exactly is the author argues, very important. This particular editorial here addresses the same issue. Again, this particular editorial addresses Israel's attack. This particular editorial here addresses some history between the Israel and Iran, very important, particularly from the perspective of IR. At the same time now, on page 12, we have how India is responding to Israel's attack on Iran, very important from the perspective of IR. India is abstaining from the UNGA resolution. What exactly is this resolution? Very important, particularly the structure of UNGA, UNSC, important from the perspective of prelims, particularly. Axiom 4 related mission related news is there. Just go through that briefly, particularly from the perspective of prelims. Very important news. Coming back to page number 14, we have very important news about center sanctioning over 300 FRA sales to facilitate implementation of FRA across 18 states. So you must know what exactly is FRA from the perspective of prelims as well as mains. Very important news. Again, on the business page, we have the impact of Israel-Iran conflict on particularly the oil supply. So we have seen the oil prices rising. So that sort of economic impact important. Again, rare earth related news is there. Just go through that briefly. Coming back to the world page, we have the analysis of the attack. So this particular map here, very important. Just go through some locations briefly. And this particular article addresses why exactly has Israel now attacked Iran. So that article is also very important, particularly from the perspective of IR. That's it, and stay tuned for daily news analysis. Thank you.